you could possibly want, everything that you truly, truly desire that you either haven't had yet, or you maybe had little glimpses of, but you haven't had fully, or maybe you hadn't lost, is on the other side of facing your fears, challenging your beliefs, and being brave enough to make changes within yourself and externally to go after those things or be open to them coming in. Hi, I'm Julia. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you're new here. This video is really gonna piggyback off of my last video about the process of challenging beliefs. So if you haven't seen that one already, click the I or the link down below. Go watch that first and then come back here. And if you already saw that video, well, then perfect. You don't have to do anything. But something that I am being reminded of again and again and again, and I literally was reminded of it so heavily and thickly last night, is that for us to really get what it is that our heart desires and do the things that we are meant to do, we have to pass through this like initiation, this gate of like shedding of the old self, letting go of the things that aren't truly us, like the fears and conditioning that we picked up along the way, whether it was like ancestral things that came through in our DNA or things that we were conditioned to believe based off society. Doesn't really matter what it is, all of it is changeable, but we have to be open to changing our minds and our beliefs about it. That usually means sitting with the tough emotions, hearing the thoughts out that we know aren't true, but that we still are hanging on to, and letting them go. And like I said, the whole process of that is in the last video, but I want to share with you an example that came up for me last night, and I was talking to my friend about this too, and she could relate as well. And I think this is just something that we experience in the human condition, where it's like there'll be something that we really want, and we kind of have to play out the whole storyline. It's like a movie, but it's real life, or a book but real life, of there's this challenge, there's this thing I want that's on the other side of my fear or my whatever thing that I have going on. So it's like me over here, obstacle, aka climax of movie, thing that I want. And there can be a lot along the way. The path isn't just so straight and narrow like a perfect arch. It could be in some cases, or it could be a wavy arch that gets you to the other side. Whatever it may be, that is your story, and you get to write it and you get to decide. And maybe it's not the you that is the small self, maybe it's the higher self version of you, probably is, but we can also connect to that version of ourselves because it is us, and we can work with it. I know this is getting a little esoteric, but anyway, I want to give you the example that I have in my life right now that I'm like, oh my goodness, I've been manifesting this, I've been wanting this, I've been visualizing this, I've been hoping for this, and now it's finally a possibility. Like the opportunity to do this thing showed up, and I am terrified and I want to run away from it. I don't want to do it, but I actually do want to do it. It's just the fear in me, the old beliefs in me, all of those parts of me that are like, no, don't do it, Julia. Like it's gonna break down how you are. But I don't like how I am when I listen to this part of me. But this part of me is so strong, right? So it's like, on one hand, I really want to do that opportunity. But on the other hand, the fear in me is like, no way. And this has come up in my life so many times, and anytime I ever regret something, it's because of this. This specific example is me and my friend want to go on a trip together, and I've been wanting to do that. It sounded like a great idea until the opportunity to go on the trip actually showed up, and I was like, I don't know if I can do that. I don't know if I can face these fears. I have a lot of OCD fears, and going on trips really triggers them, and I want to heal them, I do. But another part of me, the part of me that holds on to them, that needs to do the compulsions, doesn't want to. So I'm split, because there's a part of me that really wants to go and do all these fun things, and then there's this other part of me that's like, I just want to protect you, I just want you to be safe, but it's stopping me from the fun things. So at first I was like, okay, you know, my excuse to not go on the trip is it's too expensive. Well, that excuse went out the door. The trip could be for free. And then I was like, okay, well, I have no excuse, and I want to go on the trip. It's not like I actually don't. The part of me that does is the truest part of me. Part of me that doesn't is the fear part of me, is a part of me that needs to feel like it's protecting Julia and her being at all costs. But that part of me that feels the need to protect Julia and her being at all costs is part of me that hurts me the most and doesn't protect me and just keeps me isolated and in my little bubble and all that. So I can consciously see that. And at the same time, that fear part of me has such a hold that the part of me that wants to experience adventure and excitement gets pushed down. Now, because I know this, I am gonna exposure therapy and push myself to do it anyway. It's clearly aligning for a reason, and I clearly need to face these things sooner or later. But this isn't the first time this has come up in my life where I'm at like this fork in the road where it's like, choose your highest excitement excitement or choose to protect yourself and live in fear. That happened when I got invited to go on a tour, like a YouTube tour, where we would do live shows, where we would live in a bus. It would be like a bunch of girls. It was so exciting. They were gonna pay me. It sounded really cool, but I turned it down. And not because I didn't want to go on tour and do all those fun things. The adventure part of me, the excited part of me did, but the fear part of me went out and was like, we have to protect these beliefs at all costs because these beliefs protect you, but they actually suffocate me. So no, they isolate me and they suffocate me. But in that scenario, the fear went out, and I regret not going on that tour because still to this day, I have no idea. It could have been really fun. It could have been really cool. There are so many times this happens. Like sometimes I get invited to like a cool event, like a show or a concert, and I'm like, oh, crowds, if you're part of me, no. I'm just like, all right, okay, don't go. And those little things in the moment, they're not that deep, but they build up. And the more I say no to the things that I'm excited about doing because of the fear part of me, the less I'm gonna live my life, and I won't have these fun opportunities come to me because the universe is gonna be like, well, if you're gonna keep saying no, we're not gonna keep bringing them to you. Or maybe we will until you finally say yes. I don't know. I'm not the universe. I can't speak on that, but I can say this. If a cool opportunity knocks on your door and you say no, you have no idea when the next one is gonna show up. Maybe it'll be tomorrow and you'll be like, oh, right, I should have said yes. Okay, let me say yes to this, make good on that. Or it could be years. So I say all this to say that we really need to look at these different parts of ourselves and figure out why we choose the fear over what is exciting and push ourselves to choose what is exciting. There's so many times in my life that I have done that and chose the excitement over the fear. And that is why I really do, for the most part, I would say like 70 to 80% really get to live the life that I want to live. But the other 20 to 30% is very strong and very controlling. And I have to negotiate and work deals with that part of me to get myself to do the things that I really am excited about because it is so strong. And in this scenario, I'm sure I will have to work out some deals and negotiate with that part of me to be able to do this if everything goes through and this trip does happen. But I am conscious of this. There are so many scenarios that I've realized when I look back on it that I wasn't conscious about, where I've been doing this. So like if you're conscious of it, yeah, you can work out a deal, you can negotiate, you can figure it out. But if you're not, you can't. So like in the YouTube tour scenario, I wasn't conscious of why I was choosing not to do it and turning down such a cool opportunity, good money, a really fun experience with a bunch of girls that make YouTube videos just like I did. I wasn't fully conscious of why I was choosing no. I just knew the fear is overruling this. And later on, I was like, okay, I let the fear of me having to do all these crazy compulsions and stuff win. Not ideal, not how I want to live my life, but yet I'm still living it like this. And I think at a certain point, we do eventually get sick and tired of being sick and tired, but we don't have to wait till we get to that point if we can become aware of it sooner. Like when I had an eating disorder, I was playing out this pattern all over again. I thought the only way for me to be thin and for me to like my body was to starve myself. Well, there's always another way. We just have to get creative. I don't need to starve myself to have a thin, fit body. In fact, my body at a starved level is not healthy and eventually will fail me. And luckily I didn't get to that point, but I did get to a point where I was just so sick and tired of being hangry and hungry and only thinking about food and just feeling awful that I was like, F it. I'm gonna eat whatever I want and I'm gonna heal, and it doesn't really matter how my body's gonna look in this moment because I am so sick and tired of being sick and tired. And so I let my body heal. It took years for my physical body to heal, but it took an instant for my mind to decide and change paths. And of course, now I like my body for the most part. I feel like it's very healthy and I work with my body a lot more so than I did then. Is it perfect? No. Am I perfect? No. Do I always do what's healthy for my body? No. But I have much more of a balance and I figure things out as I go, and I'm not so harsh on myself in that aspect. But there's so many other aspects where I'm still living my life like that. And like I said in the beginning, the key for us to living the lives that we truly enjoy and that are truly aligned for us and that feel like miracles are happening every day is to go through the fear and face it and be brave and watch how the pieces fall together after. Because when we go through the fear, we're going to experience feelings that we have been avoiding for so long that we don't want to feel. That's what happened when I decided, okay, I'm just going to eat everything that I want and heal this eating disorder. I felt lousy, I felt fat, fat, I felt ugly, I felt all of the things, and I was still okay. I was still here. And honestly, even though I felt all the things that I didn't want to feel and that I was avoiding, it still felt better than starving myself, because I knew eventually my body would figure it out. It would even itself out. As long as I eat healthy, do some type of exercise, daily movement, whatever, my body would heal itself and figure out what it needs to figure out to be a healthy, functioning body. And that's all I really wanted. So I had to face the uncomfortable emotions, but eventually my body got back to how it needed to be. And I trusted that. I fully trusted that. And it did what it needed to do. And it got there. And it took its time, and I allowed it. I was patient, and it did that. So I know that goes for everything, whether you're healing something in your mind, something in your body, something in your circumstances, a relationship, your career, whatever. It takes feeling all of those discomforting emotions and doing the opposite of what you've been doing so that everything can start to heal and align properly. And it's gonna be uncomfortable, and that's the point, but then you're gonna get what you actually want. And what I wanted when it came to healing my eating disorder was I wanted to be able to eat the foods I wanted to eat and be all right, like not be feeling awful every single time I had a meal. And when you actually truly heal something, you never go back. I mean, things will come up. Like sometimes I'll have thoughts like, oh, should I be eating this and that? But I don't live my life like that anymore and act from that mind state of lack and scarcity, and I need to like restrict and control my portions. I live a life of, you know, let me eat what suits me, and sometimes it's a little more and sometimes it's a little less. But I've never gone back to living from that state full time, all the time, every time. And that's what happens when you heal something fully. You never have to go back there again. Yeah, some triggers may come up here and there, and you work through them, and then you're okay. And it's quicker and quicker each time. So I say all this to say that if we really want to live the life that we are meant to, it's time to start making some changes, facing some fears, and challenging those beliefs that we have. It's crazy because when you want something so badly and you have all these beliefs around why you can't have it or why you can't do it, when it does show up, you can't even see it because you believe that it's not possible for you. And that's when it comes back to the situation of last night with this trip. It's like, I've wanted this for so long, and now that there's a possibility to experience this, my beliefs aren't letting me. They're like, get out of it, don't do it, you shouldn't do this, it's not gonna be good, you're not gonna be okay. What? Because that part of me believed that I couldn't do it and that it's not possible. And now that it's here, it doesn't understand that it is and that it's happening and that we just need to get on board. We just need to do it. We just need to go and face the fears and enjoy the journey, because there is no destination. The journey is the destination. I want to add one more example of this happening, and that was my move here. Oh my God, you guys, I truly believe that it wasn't possible. I was like, this is never gonna happen. It's been 5 years of me wanting to move back here. I finally got the money to move back. I saved it up. I was ready. Okay, cool. Then I went to go look for a place. Struggled so hard to find the place. Finally found a place I liked, thought it was mine. Boop, went to somebody else. Okay, fine. Did that again. Boop, went to somebody else. Okay, fine. But in that last place, I connected with a realtor who ended up getting me this place. But before she brought me this place, there was another place that I applied to that I didn't get, but also it wasn't my place. It was gonna be a settle. It was really gonna be a huge settle. It was not the place for me, let's put it that way. Then finally, when I was like, you know what, I'm gonna give up and I'll try again in the fall, because this was in the spring. An hour or two later, I'm in the shower. I already made peace with, you know what, if this doesn't happen, I'll be okay, and I can always try again later on. I'm not gonna keep forcing a square peg into a round hole. Like, it's clearly not happening right now. But I had a deadline that I really wanted to meet for when I was gonna move, which was June 5th. I mean June 6th, because my brother's graduation was on the 5th, and then my other brother's graduation was on the 15th, and this one was in Cali, and I wanted to do a little road trip and drive to his graduation. Well, lo and behold, 2 weeks before, that realtor calls me literally 2 hours after the moment I gave up. I like cried about it. I was like, it's gonna be okay. If it's not meant to be, it's not meant to be. She calls me and says, I found a place for you. I didn't even know she was looking for a place for me or had me in mind for a place. I was like, okay, what do I need to do? It's mine. I'm taking it. I applied, I did all the things, got it within 24 hours. It was mine, and I met my deadline. So I say all that to say, I was terrified to do this. Putting the money down was absolutely horrifying. Packing up all my stuff and coming out here, like, I was just so nervous. but it felt aligned, it felt right, and I knew I was doing the right thing. Even though it was scary, like it was scary to leave my family and my friends and like this whole life that I had built in Philly in the past 5 years, to go back to Cali and have a few friends, a few family, but like really have to build a whole new life. And it's been 4 months of me really putting my energy into building a new life here, and I finally feel like it's starting to make sense. It's definitely super challenging, but I don't regret anything in this. I am so glad that I did this. I have no idea where life is gonna lead me next. I just know I'm gonna have to face more fears to get there, because that is just the nature of living and being. And there really is no destination that we are trying to get to, because the journey is the destination. And when we look at the journey as this fun, expansive thing that we get to do, it becomes way more exciting. So that is all for this video. I will see you guys in my next video next week. I challenge you to face some fears, one fear at a time, and live the life you want to live. Bye.